Got a new mic, did have some sound issues, but there's plenty of good content in here. Stick around, see what you can learn.
Yeah, right. I can help you with that. Here, hold on. I'm landing right next to you. I'll come hop in your chopper. Oh, your chopper's locked apparently. Get rid of my old chopper. Okay, here, show me what you got first before I start talking. Yeah, the higher you are, the less reference you have. Okay, so there's a couple things that you're gonna have to fight here. So go ahead and set it down and um let me take the stick real quick. And I think once you understand this, it'll be a lot easier. Yeah, I've got the stick. Okay, so now the first thing, do you know what ground effect is? Yeah, okay. Or like a hovercraft works off ground effect, right? So when you're within one rotor's distance of the ground, the rotor is pushing on the ground. Um, Whenever you go higher than that, it's now pushing on open air. So your rotors are more efficient close to the ground. That makes sense? And okay, so that's the first thing to understand is that there's this little ground effect cushion that you'll land on. Some people will try to power through it at the end, and that's what ends up crashing them. So once you understand that, the next thing to understand is translational lift. So once when your propellers are spinning, they're generating one type of lift, right? But whenever you start accelerating, just like sticking your hand out of a car window, your propellers start to generate a second type of lift. So I'm only gonna keep enough up collective to keep us off the ground there. I just like slightly tapped it, and once we got over 20 knots, you see that like as our speed accelerates, it starts picking us up off of the ground. You notice that? Um, and that's translational lift picking us up there. The reason that's important is because when you're decelerating, one thing you have to fight is when that translational lift cuts out. So at first, it's gonna be all fine and dandy, and then right about here, the translational lift will cut out, and you'll drop like a rock, right? And and so a lot of people aren't prepared for when that translational lift cuts out, and then in addition to that, they'll be too ready to fight the ground effect, and it'll end up with them smashing straight into the ground, right? So as I slow down, I'm gonna like hold the down collective, and then translational lift cuts out right there. I gotta fight it to keep it up, and then I can park it kind of on top of the ground effect layer. You see what I'm saying? So whenever you're practicing, what you want to do is practice coming to a hover on top of that ground effect layer. Um, and I'll kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. So you asked about your timing. See those poles? Those are the halfway mark right there. You should level up, right? Like to neutral, where you have to down throttle a little bit. And see, we're not losing any speed here, but it primes our nose for our maneuvers so that when we're ready to start pulling back, we're just in the right spot, and we can come to a hover on the ground effect bubble, a little cushion of air, and land it. So I mentioned doing 2 steps. The first step, you want to come to a hover, and I'll show you. You can come to a hover pretty high off the ground and hold down collective as hard as you possibly can, and it's not going to damage the aircraft, right? So your goal should be to come to a hover first and then to set it down. So did you read our flight manual? Dude, look at that. That was great. Okay, okay. Okay, perfect. So here, let's real quick, let me take you through that then. I'm gonna grab the stick, okay? Okay, so let's go through the 4 steps of the flight man. So the first step, which you're already exhibiting, but really what we're looking for here is this is the building block, like the foundation of the next few building blocks for what that is teaching. So what we're going to look for here is we want to get up to 60 to 80 knots. And once we do, so for step 1, we're going to pull our nose straight back to 30, hold down collective, keep our wings level. Watch that speed as it comes down to just under 10, and then we're going to slowly lower our nose and time it to where we're on 0 degrees on our nose at 0 speed, right? And so this is just practicing finding that hover. Okay? Now, I want to bring your attention to, if you look at the dial straight down from your false horizon there, do you see the one that looks like a white cross? See how the cross is kind of drifting backwards? That's because we're drifting backwards. If I put my nose down to catch that, watch what happens to the cross. Now watch if I hold it, it's going to go forward. Now it is a gyro, so it is a little bit reactive. But you can see how you can use it to find a hover. I'm literally zoomed in on that dial, and I was only using that dial to find that hover. I wasn't looking outside of the aircraft at all, right? So, yeah. So, that's step 1. Let's work on that. Don't worry about accuracy or the docks or anything. Let's just keep it over the ocean, keep it some altitude so you can hold down collective the whole time. You take the stick and give that a go. Yep. And pull up to 30. There you go, straight down. There goes, a little fast, but she held it up perfect. There you go, level it out. Yeah, perfect. And we're at a perfect hover. Okay, so that's step 1. All right, so I'm gonna take the stick here.
All right.
Now I'm gonna show you step 2. So for step 2, we're gonna build off of step 1. All right. So what it looks like is, once again, we're going to get up to 60 to 80 knots. This time, the only additional input we're going to be using is anti-torque. Are you familiar with what that one is?
Anti-torque,
That's your
would
feet.
be, yeah. Your well, basically rudder and a fixed wing.
Yeah, the pedals are still your rudder.
Okay.
So, all right. So this time I'm going to pull up to 30, make sure my wings are level, down collective, and then anti-torque one direction. And it's going to spin us around when we're 180 degrees. I'm going to pull up on the nose, and as soon as it's at the level line, up collective to catch ourselves. And we'll find ourselves at a hover here. Now this seems like a lot at first, right? I'll demonstrate it one more time because the only additional step here we've added is this. And
yeah, right.
if you can watch my stream, it might be useful to watch my controller as I do this. So I'm going to get up to 60 to 80 knots here.
Okay.
And
I'm watching your stream.
okay, cool. And so you'll see the only additional thing I'm going to do is this stick, which this is my pedals, you see? So whenever I pull up to 30, down collective wings are level, I start that pedal and it swings around. As soon as my nose comes to the horizon, I pull that up and I'm catch it with up collective. Here I'm still going a little bit backwards, which is okay. I can catch it with a little bit nose down, but the idea here is to get into what's considered a hover, you know, under like around under 10 knots pretty much.
Gotcha.
So go ahead and grab the stick and give that a go real quick.
Okay, so let's see, 60 to 80. Basically going to do the same thing. And then at what point do I?
As soon as you're level, down collective and anti-torque at the same time.
Okay, as soon as I'm level. Okay, so I'm gonna keep a 30-degree.
Yeah, let me describe what, because it sounded like I confused you with as soon as you're level. So what I'm saying is you pull up to 30. If your wings are tilted, don't start rotating. Make sure your wings are level and then down collective and rotate at the same time. Because if your left wing is tilted or your right wing is tilted, it's going to dramatically change what happens in the maneuver. So make sure your wings are level and then start down collective and rotating.
Okay, let me think about this for a second.
So go ahead and rotate real quick. There you go. Okay. So now down collective and rotate at the same time. Okay, so that's exactly what you're going to do as soon as you're level, nothing else.
Okay. Okay. I think I get what you're saying. I think I must have misunderstood the graphic.
Yeah, so what we're doing and what I was trying to depict when I made the graphic was that we're finding our 30-degree tilt. So imagine we're tilted at 30 degrees and then like a gyroscope, we're going to rotate the helicopter around that angle. So now anti-torque, hold it. Anti-torque, anti-torque. There you go. Now pull your nose up, and up collective. There you go. Just like that.
Okay. So yeah, so you're saying when it's level, I guess at the time that you told me to anti-torque, right? I was still in that 30-degree.
Yeah, so it's confusing because we're in a helicopter, but whenever I'm talking about your wings, I'm literally talking about the little wings of the W on your dial.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So those make those wings level and then rotate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sorry. I've gone through this so much sometimes I forget
Oh, you're good.
what I've shortened down. So yeah, when I'm talking about being level, I'm talking about those not being tilted. No bank.
Gotcha.
There you go. Now anti-torque and down collective. Perfect. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And up collective. Right there. Yeah, buddy, you got it. All right. Go do that a couple more times just to kind of cement that feeling in. Because we're going to build on that now.
Oh, yeah, I didn't quite do it right.
So you're holding your nose up a lot, which is okay, but it's actually kind of hindering you. Let your nose drop until it hits the horizon and then yank it up.
Okay. Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna it's gonna free fall a bit until you're at 90 degrees. You'll be level with the horizon and then start yanking it for all it's worth, instead of trying to feather it up the whole time. So rotate and nose up right there. There you go. There you go. So time that nose up a little bit earlier this time and you'll have it.
Gotcha.
Feels weird because you kind of like enter this state where you just got to let the helicopter do what it's going to do. There you go. Now rotate. Rotate. There you go. And nose up. and collective up. Perfect. Beautiful. Go do that a couple more times. Now, what we're practicing here is our approach, right? Because at the end of your approach, you should be at a hover. Yeah.
I screwed that one up.
You just kept your nose up a little too high, and that's why you're going backwards at the end. The reason I'm telling you to wait is because you need your nose to go a little bit negative to kill the rest of your momentum. Because you're essentially catching yourself backwards at the
Yeah.
end. And if your nose isn't a little bit dipped, then you're just going to keep going backwards. Yeah, you're getting it. Nice. Let me take the stick now and show you the next step.
All right.
Okay. So, this one, is going to be a little bit different, but we're building off everything else. So this time we're going to add our bank. And people tend to add too much bank in the beginning, which is really what throws them off. But there is a perfect amount of bank, and it's about right here. So 20 to 30 degrees. So I line up about 2 helicopters to the right whenever I'm approaching. Then I'll hit this bank angle, pull straight up to 30, and we're back up to step 2, down collective, and rotate around. This time I'm going to yank the stick back the whole time. And as soon as we stall, I'm going to up collective and catch ourselves. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to go into a little bit more detail what we're doing here because we're intentionally stalling the aircraft. And I'll demonstrate by holding that stall. So we come to this angle, pull up to 30, down collective, anti-torque, and we're stalling, and I'm just going to keep holding it. You see we're just entering a flat spin now, right? And you can recover from this pretty quick just by hitting up collective. So what we're doing is we're intentionally entering that flat stall and catching it at the end. And now that you've seen that, I'm going to show you close to the water, ideally what we're aiming for. So once again, finding our angle, like we're hitting a little skateboard ramp, we're going to kick it up in the air, down collective, and swing that tail around and catch it as soon as we hit that stall.
Okay.
So.
Oh, okay. That's suddenly a lot of steps. But I think I've got it.
It is. I'm gonna re-simplify it now because I took it out and showed you the big picture. So let's take it back down micro level and go over exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna get up to 60 to 80 knots. We're gonna find our bank right here. And then once we're there, back to step 2. Up to 30 with our nose, down collective, pull the stick back and rotate that tail around. Catch it at 180 degrees.
Okay.
And now how do you know?
I know that there's like that, for example, the 4-minute turn indicator, or I don't know if that's what that particular indicator is called, but
it's a turn and slip indicator.
Okay. Okay. So that's probably not going to. Well, actually, that might tell me what angle I'm at. Is there an indicator that actually tells you what
your angle? It's your attitude direction indicator, and it's the top center one, the one that's black on the bottom and white on the top. You see the 3
How do you know? Yeah.
That's 30 degrees. Each solid line. Sorry, go ahead.
How do you know what bank angle you're at?
Okay, so each solid line is 10 degrees. Okay. Each hash mark is 5 degree, or like is a 5 degree mark. So like here's 0 degrees, 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees. Now watch this. So I'm gonna catch myself. Whenever I'm level, if I tilt my left wing -5 degrees or -10 degrees and my bring my right wing up, positive 10 degrees. Right here is a 20-degree angle. You see that?
I see. I see.
So if I was to keep my left wing on neutral, but bring my right wing up to 30, that's a 30-degree tilt.
I see. Okay, now I understand. Okay, I didn't know you could use it like that.
Yeah, does that make sense?
I gotcha. Yes, it does.
Yeah. So whenever I'm talking about having a 30-degree bank, this is a 30-degree bank.
Gotcha.
So left wing -30, right wing right around neutral. 20 to 30 degrees is usually fine, right? And then that's a good angle to pull your nose up to 30, down collective, and start rotating around and catching it.
Okay. I think I've got it now. Okay.
So here, go.
And
give it a
the
try.
the slip indicator, I assume that works a lot like it does in fixed wing aircraft where
That's a different lesson, and it's a little bit different than a fixed wing. So
okay.
figure this out, and then we'll go over the turn and slip indicator in a little bit more depth,
Gotcha.
because I don't
Gotcha.
want to overload you. The turn and slip indicator is really useful though. And by the way, I'm not always available, but I do have like a TikTok and stuff where I make short form content on teaching how to fly the helicopter.
Gotcha. Okay, hold on. So I need to enter the bank at the same time that I
So get up to 60 knots first.
okay.
Let me walk you through this.
That's so funny that the adding the bank just
it does. It
feels
throws
like
everything
makes it
out. And most people start with it, and that's what hinders them is they start banking and then they panic bank throughout the maneuver, and then they keep momentum. They never burn off speed. So get up to go ahead and nose down a little bit, -15 about, and up throttle or up collective just to hold our speed there. There we go. Now from
Gotcha.
here, keep your nose where it's at, but dip your left wing to -30 and your right wing to positive or to neutral. There you go. You see that? Awesome. Now from here, when you're ready, pull your nose up to 30, down collective and anti-torque, just like step 2. But no, hold
Oh
that
shoot,
stick
I
back. Hold
screwed
the
it way
stick
up.
back. No, you're good. You're good. Hold it back. You're good. There you go. Now level out. Level out and up collective. Yeah, okay, okay. That was rough, but we got our first feeling for it. So get us back up to speed and let's go catch it again. Now, what I want you to think about is like we're drifting here, all right? Cue the Tokyo drift music. That down collective, when you're hitting down collective and anti-torque, what that should feel like to you is you're pulling your e-brake and spinning the wheel. And then you'll see it when we're slipping, it's just like drifting. So pull up, down collective, rotate. There you go. Now up collective and catch yourself. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about? How it feels kind of like drifting?
Man, it does. It does. That has a lot of steps to perform at once. Okay.
Yeah. Practice that a few more times, man. It is a lot at once. Now you see why I break it down into so many steps and I start us off at the very basic.
Yeah, definitely.
Whenever we were in the maneuver, the amount of bank that we're looking for is 30 degrees. So about this much. And you can see we're pretty steady holding 30 degrees. We can even actually hold it for quite a while. And we can actually fly sideways like this, even if, just like you were talking about, if we have the right tail input, we can maintain sideways flight. But what the angle you hit there, you added a little too much. I'm gonna get us a little height because I'm gonna show you the angle you hit, and it makes it really obvious when you're at a hover why it's a bad thing. So here's the angle that you hit. Yeah. Yeah, and you see how much space it takes to recover from that, right? So whenever you're coming in for a hot drop and you're hauling ass in, if you tilt that much, you're gonna kill everybody on board. So you need to find your bank, pull up your nose, slip it out, keep it level. You're actually gonna fight to keep it level, and then bring it around and catch it. So the tendency for people is to lean into it. You're actually gonna have to lean against it. So the reason I wanted to pull you over here is because this is what we call the hover pad. And it's a good place to practice hovering. Like initially, probably the best way to use it for which you seem like you have a good command of a hover, but for a lot of people, getting down hovering initially, and then on top of that, rotating and then maintaining hover in one spot without drifting too far, right? But then past that, where it's really useful is where you're at. I feel like, so when we're going forward, the reason we're doing this bank is so that we can get that tail out of the way for when we rotate and pull our nose up. You see that? And so this is at a very micro level. We're working with degree angles of like 5 degrees here. But doing that same thing that we were doing, I'm flaring, stopping, spinning my tail around. Okay, now this time with the bank. So bank to, and I can do it a little bit harder if I bank. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
So this is practicing this at a super low level over here. Go ahead and take the stick. Is what will get you to where you can do it fast at high speed, because you need to be flat in order to land fast. Because if you come in with too much bank, you're going to break your rotors immediately, right? This is why I kind of... Sorry, go ahead.
Doing this with the head tracking, so we'll see.
Yeah. What I've noticed is like there's a when I am locked in and flying, I'll focus on one little spot on the screen anyway. So, and it's pretty close to the center. So if you just make that kind of low sensitivity zone where you usually look at, you hardly notice it if it's set right. Because whenever you're like flying fast, you're not looking at the edge of the screen. You're looking at the very center where you're going. Is this, after seeing the big picture like that and then breaking it down to like a micro level like this, does it make a bit more sense what we're doing?
I think it absolutely does. I think it's going to take me a lot of practice to be able to put all of the movements together at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So here, let me show you how I teach to break it down. Whenever you're ready, let me know. I'll take the stick.
All right, ready?
Okay, so, all right. It did that on its own. All right, so remember the ground effect cushion here? We want to try and work just on that ground effect cushion. And if we tilt too much, it's going to immediately make us lose altitude.
Yeah, yep, gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Because you're kind of breaking that.
Yeah, because our thrust is going to the side too much. So
right.
Our goal here is to not touch the throttle. Okay.
Okay.
Now the concept we're learning here is called tail around, nose down. All right, so check it out. -5 degrees will get us going forward. We just want to maintain our wings being level. And then when we're ready to go the other direction, we tail around. So now we're at +5 degrees, and then we nose down. And it'll catch it
Gotcha.
and slow us down. And you see how we even gained some height there. Then we'll swing back into it. And once we get some speed, we can level off so we don't lose too much height. Right? Tail around. Nose down. And this is kind of how we get the hang of maneuvering at a hover in general. The tail around and nose down, and I'll show you how that bleeds into general movement, because if we want to go 90 degrees, we still tail around, we level our wings off, and then we nose down, right? So we just have
okay.
we just have to correct for the angle there. So 90 degrees, we got to level our wings off first and then nose down. And then so what this you find this turns into is when you're in flight, this becomes one motion. And that's what you're talking about. It's a lot of controls at once, right? But like once you kind of get the hang of this, doing this separate, then it becomes one thing that you do.
Gotcha.
And you can see how now it looks like, I mean, it looks like I'm not really doing a whole lot. But if you look at my controller, you can see that they're like I'm doing a little bit on both sticks in order to keep us level. I've got to pull that high wing down, and then I've got to push our nose down in order to gain our speed. And really what we're focusing here is using our nose to gain and decrease our speed. So pull up to slow down, go down to go faster, use our tail to steer, right? And then our collective to maintain height. So we can translate this into flight whenever we're coming to land using the same concepts. And what happens is if you use the 2 steps of landing that we discussed, where you first can break it to a hover, you can then utilize those to find your spot that you need to set it down, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times people's hovers aren't solid, and then their maneuvering at a hover they never practice. So they never practice flying like this, low to the ground.
Oh,
and
interesting.
slow. You see
See,
what
I
I'm
actually
saying?
do this a lot.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't. A lot of people, this is not fun for them. But this is really where you get a lot of your finesse, right? And see, this is all tail, tail around, nose down. Because if we try to approach that the way most people instinctively do it, like this, we're just gonna hit the ground.
Yeah, they're gonna fall. Yep. Yes, I do this a lot because so I actually I don't do a whole lot of CAS. I do it sometimes, but most of the time I'm transporting people. And so most of the time I'm like going to bases and stuff and like maneuvering around all the crap that people have built.
Designed bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I do just hover quite a bit, just trying to get near where people are, typically the arsenal.
Yeah. So all that to say, this is at a micro level what we're practicing earlier. So here's step 1, where we get speed, and then we do a straight flare. We let our speed come down, and we bring that nose down to a hover. Okay, and then step 2 is where we get some speed once again. We do a straight flare, and this time we anti-torque and catch it at a hover. And then step 3 is where we get some speed. And this time we're gonna do it fast and low, so we bank and get our tail out of the way from the ground, and then we immediately hook and hover. And you see how much quicker it gets with each step, right?
Yeah.
So like when you bring it down this small, then it's easier to see why when we're up there at 400 feet, we're practicing this so fast and getting control over how the aircraft feels going quickly. Go ahead and take the stick and give us some practice. You've seen me fly plenty.
Not enough. There we go.
And you can kind of feel that ground effect cushion, and you can tell when you tilt too much because you got to add a little collective to keep yourself off the ground. Obviously, at the end there, I was just using collective however I needed it, but at a low speed, you can use it to catch yourself. And flying in perfectly, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. So that what you're doing right now is basically step 2. You remember step 3 is where we bank first and swing that tail around. So this time I want you to add your bank and then pull that nose up and swing the tail around. This is why I brought you over here, because your tendency was to bank too much, but now you see we can't do that.
Oh, I forgot the anti-torque.
Yeah, it's vital that we do it all proper timing. And this is what we were practicing last, so keep focused on that. Well, you'll nail this. Yeah, you see, dude, you see the different level of maneuverability you get when you're able to like time that all perfect. It's good. So go back to the docks where we first met and start practicing flying back and forth and catching that at a hover over the landing pads. And then basically you want to start like catching your hovers at about 50 feet, work on your accuracy, and then bring them lower and lower. Once you can hover consistently at about 20 feet, then you can start incorporating 10 to 20 feet, start incorporating landing. But until then, it's best just to focus on the hover and solidifying that out of that maneuver.
Oh, what am I doing there? I
Yeah,
screwed
dude.
that way up.
No, that was good. You entered slip. Perfect. You feel how you came out of that with no speed? That was a good maneuver. I don't know what you were planning on doing, but you did exactly what we were working on, so it worked out. See, and now we're technically at a hover, right? So like that's the last part of landing is hovering, and if you have to taxi in, ideally in combat we don't want to taxi, but
Right.
you know, when you're returning to base, taxiing may be inevitable, especially with how some of the base designs are. Most people forget that helicopters can taxi though. They gotta be balls to the wall the whole way there and back. Yeah, you're entering that slip good, catching it. Dude, look at that. That's good. That's good. You feel how solid that hover was at the end too?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot better than my previous attempts.
Okay, so after this next one, we're gonna work on your approach a little bit. okay?
Okay.
Yeah, look how much more solid you are. And it's because we're not tilting a whole bunch. We're actually counteracting the tilt some, aren't we? Because the other
Yes,
kind of
we
wants to
are.
roll into it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take the stick real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so now you see those towers on the left and right up there?
Oh, yep.
That's the halfway point, or as best as I could manage making it. Um, Now the reason that's there is because this is a tool to on building our approach. So once we get to this halfway point here, what we want to do is we want to level out to the neutral on our dash and down collective to keep ourselves low. That way we're not pulling up through all that negative attitude to start our maneuver. And then you'll find timing your maneuver is way easier.
Oh, dude, that was pretty sweet. Okay.
So go ahead and get the stick and give it a go. And that's just
Okay. So
drawing out the
neutral
approach.
at about the.
There you go. You're gonna have to down collective a little bit and see how you're just gliding. We're not losing speed. We're just gliding. But we don't have to pull up through any negative attitude now to start our maneuver, so go ahead and start. You tilted your nose down there a bit.
Yeah, I did.
Now, let me take the stick back because
Okay.
sometimes it's easier to have a frame of reference. So I'm gonna do my approach and you do your approach. Now, so we're accelerating. We want to hit at least 60 to 80, right? And then when we're ready, so now I'm gonna level off. I'm gonna bring in my approach, and I'm gonna gently ease my nose up as I'm ready. I'm gonna bring that tail around, and I'm gonna time my nose and my tail for when that momentum breaks, so that I can have that accuracy whenever I come in for my hover and my landing, right? So
Okay.
let me show you one more time. And
Yeah, I need to see that again.
okay, so same thing as before as we get up. So this is more for precision landings. Now keep in mind everything we're going over is a different tool in your belt, right? So we're gliding in here and we're gonna ease our nose up. See this little bit of bank, and it's just up and to the side a little bit. And burning off that speed in a slow and controlled manner is what gets you in for these precision landings.
Okay. Okay. I think that's starting to click.
Does that make sense? Do you want to see it again?
I think one more time. Yes. I
Okay.
think I understand what's going on.
This is the key of like having a precise approach, right? Now remember, halfway point, I'm lining up plenty wide to the side to give myself plenty of room this time so that I can bank early, right? The wider you are, the earlier you can bank. I'm gonna slowly start pulling my nose up, swinging that tail around, and I can like gently bleed off my speed to adjust my approach, right? And this is
Okay.
where you start working on timing the approach, and really being able to do that really long approach is the key to being able to do a super quick approach, because once you're able to stretch it out that long and do it super controlled over that longer period of time, then you can work on slowly speeding it up faster and faster and faster until you're ready to come in and do something a little bit more extreme, and you already have all the timing down for everything.
That's more like the landing that I typically do.
Yeah, and like so that's me preloading the tail and then swinging it out.
Okay.
Now the difference is the landing that we're practicing, right, is more like this, where we're coming in at a slight angle, and if we're doing it fast, we'll pull up, kick it out, down collective, and slip it out to come in and catch like that.
See, yeah, that's what I want. I want the precision of that. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. I think I got it.
the difference in those two landings there is that the first one is I preloaded my tail first, and then the second one I just did a flat maneuver like we've been working on this whole time.